what we have here is a Zinger. In the early 70s, Chuck Miller built these things. Monogram model contracted him. It all started out with a bunch of kids in school putting models together, and they were messing around. It was a contest, and Monogram Models was at the contest, and they saw what kids were doing. They were putting 124 scale model parts on a 143rd body. It caught on, and they contracted Chuck Miller to build these things in real life. There was 8 built, and this is actually a new one that was never ever built, so I would consider this a number 9. So there you go. We figured we would have a little addition to the Dead Man's Curve Wild Hot Rod Weekend number 8, and here we go. Also, we also built the Bug Zinger, which was a real car, a real Zinger, which is right on over there. Debuting at our show.
So Chuck, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming to the Dead Man's Curve Wild Hot Rod Weekend number 8. Okay, we really appreciate you being here. He's our legend builder for 2019. That's a legendary car builder, Chuck Miller. Chuck, you want to give a little rundown on the Red Baron, how it all started, and what was your ideas and what was going through your head?
Well, it depends on how far back you want to go, naturally. But the original one is designed by Tom Daniel from Monogram. And Monogram had a toy show in Chicago in probably late '68. Bob Larrabee was at that toy show. He did advanced work for their Chicago show, all their hot rod shows. And he went to the toy show, figured, well, what the heck, I'll go to this toy show too. It was in the hotel. So he's wandering through the show and saw the model kit of the Red Baron. And he just thought, wow, this is really cool. Wonder how it'd be to build a real one. So he contacted Monogram Revell and said, we really like this model, and I'd like to, what do you think about building the real one of it? Well, what are they going to say? No, absolutely.
Now, Bob Larrabee's
he's a promoter
for ICA
He
Promotions.
owned Promotions
Incorporated.
In Detroit area.
Okay.
For years, he started a lot of the shows. He had shows all over the country for years. So anyways, he saw the model, liked it. Monogram gave their blessing, said, build it. So Bob came to me and said, with the model, just the model.
Of course.
Said, could you build a real one? And sure. So we started on that. So I guess he figured I had pretty decent credentials because the year before that, I built the fire truck, from which then won the Riddler Award, very well-known award in the Detroit Autorama.
Right.
They built a model of that fire truck after I built the real one, just the opposite of this. So Bob asked how I could build it. I did, and we debuted it at Detroit Autorama in 1969. Along with the car, they had the models there, they had a display. The rest, you could say, is history.
It's history.
Is history. And now, the original car is at the Speedway Collection in Lincoln, Nebraska, a big supplier of hot rod parts and all kinds of stuff for cars. That's
Right.
where the original one is now.
And 50 years later, what did you do?
50 years later, I made a copy of it.
There you go.
I made a copy of it, and it debuted at Detroit Autorama this past March in Detroit, commemorating, if you want to say, birthday anniversary of the Red Baron 50 years later.
Wow, that's great.
And now I have that one in my collection.
Right. 50 years later.
50 years. And then now this one, John, he made a copy of it as well, and it's been done, 2-3 years now. Yes. So he has this car, and it's a very nice car, real close. Right. And that was just on, I saw it maybe 6-8 months ago on my classic cars.
Yes.
Yeah, that, well, Dennis Gage,
Dennis
my classic
Gage.
car.
Drove it, and when I saw that, I thought, wow, that's really cool. You know, so.
Yes.
But this one here, dynamite. Really a nice job as well.
Good job.
Thank
John.
you.
Did a
Thank
real
you.
good job on it.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Chuck.
Yep, very nice.
Mario.
Yep.
And well, that's great. What a great story in the Red Baron. So, Chuck, give us a little rundown on the Zingers, how that came about.
Well, that's another whole story by
Okay.
itself, too. The original one was built by the models, was Dennis Johnson out of Ohio. And he entered the model that he put together at a toy show at Autorama, from which just everybody thought, you know, how ridiculous is that? It was so ridiculous, it's cool.
Oh, very cool.
Boy, how about if they had the real ones? So Bob Larrabee again came to me with the models and said, this is really cool, we'd like to build them. So these are, this particular one, that is 1/2 scale Volkswagen, and they called them Zingers back then, from which it started with that name, and it's held on ever since.
And it's stuck.
But they do not run. There's no guts in them. And there was 6 altogether built. I built 4 of them, and Steve Tansey out of Indiana, he built the dragster and the dune buggy.
Okay.
I built the Volkswagen, the Vet, the van, and the semi. I built those 4.
Beautiful.
There was a 57 Chevy and a Dodge van pickup.
Pickup.
Those 2 were never built.
Oh, no, I didn't think so, because we never really
the
seen them.
van pickup version.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
The motor in the back.
Right, and that was one of the other that wasn't built. But this one here, that's probably built in 72, right in there. So that's about 17, 18 years,
Right,
or 48.
right.
Wow.
Yeah, so
So,
50 years on the Baron, and
Right.
this one here is probably about 47 years.
Right.
47.
so Bob Larrabee wanted to have these built to promote the ICA Inc.
IFCA.
Correct? So it was a great idea. Big hit with the kids too, right,
Yeah.
Chuck?
Oh, it was just great. Back in the 70s, the Zingers, putting them together, and they were just great cars. I mean, it was just so ridiculous. You
Right.
know, with the motor coming up through the roof. You're always asked naturally, where do you sit? Can you
Yeah.
drive it? Does it run?
Oh, they remote control.
Remote control, you know,
Right,
you've
right.
heard all of that. So, but that was it. They were just fun, ridiculous cars.
Right, exactly.
But they just draw the people.
They really do.
They were
Proud-
displayed at SEMA, I think 3 years ago now.
Right.
The Corvette and the Volkswagen. And it just stopped the show. They were setting up the show, and they brought these in. The workers, the contractors, they just stopped, came over, looked at them. They couldn't believe them, and they just, I've never seen these before.
No.
So in a sense, you could say they're old enough to be new enough.
Yeah, right,
Because there's a certain generation, they've never seen the car.
No.
right, right.
So
Very-
they
So,
just-
so the crowd pleasers is what they are.
Crowd pleasers.
Yeah.
Great.
Especially here today, they
Oh,
definitely
Oh,
please
my
the
God.
crowd.
just,
You know,
blows them away. to see
absolutely.
it, Sure.
Yeah.
So,
But that's kind of how the Zingers came about.
Yes.
And the ones that I built.
right, right. So, personally, he inspired me a great deal ever since I was a little kid. So, this year,
Yeah.
John Sprigato and myself, Mario, built 2. John built the Bug. I built one that was never made before, the VW
The bus.
Beetle bus.
Yep.
And we figured we'd do that in Chuck's honor, that knowing that he was coming.
Yes.
So Chuck, I want to thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure and an honor to see you and to have you at our event.
Well, thank you
I
so
really,
much.
really do.
I really appreciate
Thank
being
you
here.
very much.
John?
Thank you for coming.
Great to be
Always.
here, and I'd love to come back again too.
Oh, we'd love to
All right,
have
gotta
you.
wait. See you again next year.
Next year.